different variants that are emerging for blockchain. Some are better for enterprise, some are better for public use, and so on. But we cannot talk about blockchain and cryptocurrency without talking about the massive elephant in the room, which is Bitcoin, and probably the thing that has boosted the popularity and notoriety of blockchain. So right now, Bitcoin accounts for 55% of the total cryptocurrency market. How is that going to change? Will that change? Should that change? What else is coming? That is what we are going to discuss in the next panel now. So what I'd like to do is invite our moderator up, Dragos Gigula. Dragos, if you'd like to come up here, mates. He's going to be our moderator for this panel. And what I'm going to do after that, we're going to have Gustav Libik. Gustav, you can come up here. Siim Õunap, Asi Salga. And if guys, you could all come up here. And we are going to start our next session. Okay, I'll hand it over to you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Hey guys, how's it going? Good to have you. Okay guys, grab a seat. I get the shitty chair because I'm moderating. Is anyone here, yeah? Okay, cool. So I think the best way to kind of kick this off is to do a couple of introductions to people that don't know us. So I'll be moderating. My name is Dragos. I handle partnerships and product at Change. Change is basically a cryptocurrency a blockchain startup like cryptocurrency, currently based out of Estonia and Singapore. We've recently raised about 51,000 Ether, and we're building a decentralized marketplace for financial services, a card, and also a cryptocurrency wallet. Then we have Gustav.
Hi, tere. My name is Gustav. I'm head of product at Change, colleague of Dragos here. Trying to make sure we launch the wallet in time, introduce cards, and also financial services. So I'm also a member of board in the Estonian Cryptocurrency Association, together with Asa here. So maybe I'll just hand it over.
Yeah, Asa.
Hello everyone, tere. My name is Asa Sauga. I'm a co-founder and member of Estonian Cryptocurrency Association, and we are welcoming the new members, and we are like kind of partner between the public sector and communities and the end users.
I think I have mine. Thanks. Hi, my name is Siim Õunap. I am director of GetGame, a company called GetGame, which is an ultimate platform for that helps you to make different games, get funding, and hire people, get marketing, and everything basically you need in order to make the game happen. On my spare time, I'm a trader. I trade both Forex as well as cryptocurrencies. Not too much within indices, but I have my fair share of those as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Arseni. I'm CEO and founder of Mothership, and we are building an Estonian-based exchange and wallet and a platform for doing compliant ICO sales in Estonia. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, guys. So on to the actual topic of the day. We've seen a lot of growth in the cryptocurrency space, and growth is very easy to understand based on numbers, right? So it's safe to say that we've almost seen 30x since the start of January. Bitcoin is now hurtling towards 200 billion market cap, almost over 55% of the actual the market cap of cryptocurrencies. So the question is this going to continue? And going into this conversation, I just want to ask you guys one question. Do you guys think that the current market cap metric that we have is a reliable metric for assessing the success of cryptocurrencies as a whole?
Let me take this one first. Of course, the market cap is, to be honest, it's a bullshit metric, because what market cap is the last price times the total supply. So when we say market cap of 200 billion, it doesn't mean that people can sell 200 billion of Bitcoin worth in order to bring the price to zero. In fact, a much smaller amount is needed to move market significantly. So, in my opinion, market cap is not a reliable metric, but that's what we have.
That's what we have. That's correct.
I think there are many reliable metrics, and one of them could be market cap.
Well, I think that if you have a coin with a dog face on it, Doga coin, and this coin with a dog face is, according to the cap, worth like a few $100 million, then I don't think it's a good metric.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I also agree with what's here that it's not as good metric as it could be. There are much better ones out there, but it is one of the ways that we can easily distinguish Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies from others as well. So if you have to have that one common thing, then that could be one of them. But yeah, it's not by far perfect metric for that.
We've seen a couple of things happen recently that's definitely inflated the overall market cap, such as the recent forks that we've experienced. We've had Bcash, we have Bitcoin Diamond. I'm hearing something of Bitcoin Titanium happening sometime soon. What do you guys think of all these forks happening to Bitcoin, and how is that actually affecting the hype around the whole space?
I think those forks are, in my opinion, more like testing the societies and communities how they will act, because if we see the blockchain and Bitcoin communities and all the communities around the cryptocurrency space, it's in terms of society development, it's really like kind of new way how to develop the system, how to make decisions and everything. And this kind of forks are like one way how to learn and how to develop decision-making processes and everything. And but to be honest, already today we have much more with much more biggest potential and technology advanced cryptocurrencies which solve the same problem what different Bitcoin forks try to solve. They're just using the same name, and there are like virtual society war between the communities.
So,
I think that this is something that we should look into two different groups. There's one group that obviously they're trying to expand or improve on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has many flaws and is not by far perfect. So there's one group that is trying to make fork to improve Bitcoin, and then there's other one that could look like that, but they're basically taking advantage in the huge community behind Bitcoin. So if you want to have a token or coin of your own, and you want to make it really big, really fast, then obviously Bitcoin is very good base to go to fork from, because it already has a quite big community behind that. So it could be could be both ways.
So basically, you create a shitcoin and you add Bitcoin on it.
Exactly.
To expand the reach. Okay, fair enough.
I feel the same, and I think that in the next year we're going to see more different forks happening to Bitcoin, and it's correct that it's not right to put equal sign between such forks as Bcash and Bitcoin Gold, because Bitcoin Gold, though it wasn't executed properly, it had the right idea of improving over Bitcoin and improving over the decentralization of Bitcoin. And then, even though our companies did an ICO, I think that doing a Bitcoin fork might be a more fair way of distributing coins for a new protocol. Because if you think about it, what might be the most fair way of distributing coins? It would be to give everyone in the world just one coin for everyone. So it's pretty hard technically to achieve. So just airdropping new coins via Bitcoin fork is all we have now, and what we can experiment with and see how this method of distribution works for legitimate products.
At this point, doesn't actually forking a coin means you're just giving more coins to other Bitcoin holders, therefore kind of making them even better off, like in terms of centralization of wealth?
Well, yeah. In case of wealth, yeah. In case of centralization of wealth, yeah. But we can experiment with how it works. Of course, it's not exactly the same as distributing everyone, like a single coin to everyone, but it's something.
Okay.
Maybe my 2 cents here is I think these forks are really important. This is because we give people the opportunity to choose which kind of Bitcoin do they want. Do they want a Bitcoin which resembles gold, online gold, or do they want a Bitcoin which is more like PayPal? So PayPal is something what Bitcoin Cash is, in my opinion, moving towards. Bitcoin Core is moving towards gold as a sort of value. Now we have Bitcoin Diamond, we have Bitcoin Gold as well. So people, both miners, users, and merchants are essentially choosing where they want Bitcoin to go, and eventually the strongest one will win. So
in the context of like the topic of this panel with regards to like, do we expect a change in the current dominance of Bitcoin? Do you guys foresee, so right now, Bitcoin serves as the main gateway into buying, the different type of altcoins, which is kind of been fueling its growth as well, right? Do you guys foresee many exchanges adopting a fiat to Bitcoin fork type of approach going forward, allowing you to basically purchase, Bitcoin Cash or Bcash, sorry, or a Bitcoin Diamond with fiat, and will that actually start affecting, the dominance of Bitcoin?
I think they will, and I think it will present a challenge. And as I earlier said, I think it's up to the participants in the ecosystem to vote with either mining power, money, or usage. So yeah.
Fair enough.
I think that this is also going to be the case in many ways. Bitcoins will have a very, very interesting time ahead in many different ways, and it will have quite a few different changes ahead. And unlike you said, the best one. I mean, you said the best one might win, or the best one will win, or best fork. In my opinion, it's not anymore a matter of the fork or the Bitcoin or whatever Bitcoin is going from, but it could be any one of the cryptocurrency that is being out there in the market right now. So it's not only Bitcoin that is in the market that is being charged by what is best, but it's one of, at this point, already many different ones.
So, with regards to like the ability of the normal user to buy cryptocurrencies, right now you can mostly buy from fiat cryptocurrencies. You can buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin available on Coinbase. What do you guys think of this ecosystem going forward? What are the other coins you see kind of coming in to allow users to go from fiat to cryptocurrencies? What do you see as the main contenders? Of course, we have Ethereum and some of the other coins, but what are your thoughts there?
Well, there are not as many because the regulation is quite strict on that, and of course everybody who are willing to buy different tokens and coins for fiat currencies, they want to make sure that they can get the money at least back, and they get it back to fiat at least for time being, and until the financial situation is strength enough. But it will have quite a big effect on that in many ways, because the conveniency is going to be the key number here. How convenient it is for you to pay fiat in cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, or whatever transaction or the required currency will be.
It depends a lot how old the technology behind the cryptocurrencies too, because fiat we have it's like thousands of years old technology basically, and the exchanges will look really carefully what first thing is liquidity, how much liquidity the new cryptocurrency can offer, and the second thing is definitely trust, technology trust, and the community, technical community around it, and the end users, of course.
Yeah, for a low cap coin, it might be economically unfeasible to split the volume between multiple markets, between BTC market, Euro market, USD market. So yeah.
Okay, and with regards to like some of the other contenders that potentially might chip into the the Bitcoin kind of market cap at the moment, what do you guys think of Ethereum as a main contender for it, and where do you see that going in the next couple of months, next couple of years? I mean, it's hard to predict, but how much will the growth of Ethereum actually affect dominance of Bitcoin, in your opinion?
I don't think personally that Ethereum would be the best substitute for Bitcoin for a number of reasons. For instance, it's not really made as a currency as such as Bitcoin is. There are, I think, others that are more suitable that are made especially for currency purposes. That also have some other aspects that Ethereum has currently as well on it. But with some kind of improved technology. I think, for example, EOS is one thing that we should have our eyes on at the moment. They haven't launched yet, so it's difficult to see what the future will bring. But Vitalik himself is a big contestant, is taking part of developing that part. So personally, when it comes to Ethereum, I don't think that Ethereum is going to be a good substitute for Bitcoin.
I think that when you think about Ether and Bitcoin, it's like a bear and a tiger. So they are completely different animals. They serve completely different purposes. They cater to different needs, and I wouldn't compare the two in any way. I think they are as far from each other as basically possible. So.
What about in regards to, like, I do understand, obviously the application of Ethereum and the purpose of Bitcoin, but from a public perspective, because as we are going towards the end of the year, we're going to see more and more people coming into this space that don't necessarily understand the concept, behind protocols, behind proof of work, proof of stake, all of those things. In the mindset of people, do you guys think people are going to be more, in terms of kind of like contesting the dominance of Bitcoin as the biggest currency in terms of market cap? Do you guys think people are going to be more kind of like oriented towards buying a coin just because it has a smaller price than Bitcoin, or do you think this is going to go straight towards Bitcoin?
I think this is a larger problem of educating people about different coins and for what those coins are useful. That we treat Bitcoin as digital gold, right? But then for payments, the sponsor of this conference is one of my favorite coins. It's great for payments. It's much better than Bitcoin for payments. Because whenever I see some place accepting Bitcoin, I have these kinds of mixed feelings. On one hand, it's like, oh, so cool, I can pay with it. On the other hand, like, nah, not doing this, not paying for my coffee with Bitcoin. Because that's not supposed to be used like this. And the public needs to be educated about different coins and how they could be used. So in case of Ethereum, it's of course smart contracts and things like this. With Dash, it's payments, so Litecoin, and then we have the Lightning Network incoming. And Lightning Network will even further interconnect different blockchains and allow payments to go through not one but two or even more blockchains. So that's the I think the question here is how do we educate the public about all those different coins?
Maybe to add a bit here, I think for the coming year, as you asked, I think the dominant token or coin will remain Bitcoin, simply because essentially there's no money yet in the Bitcoin or the Ethereum space. It's only a few hundred $1 billion, and I think that next year is the year when institutional money will start to flow into Bitcoin. That means wealth funds, family offices, university endowments, this kind of money, which is a few magnitudes higher or bigger than what currently is there. And these kinds of funds don't want to take the risk of pushing the funds into Ethereum just yet, simply because the technology is still in a stage where it's not secure enough. The wallets are not secure enough. If you've heard of the multi-signature wallets of Parity, for example, one of the most talented Ethereum developer, Gavin Wood, built a wallet which has had serious breaches in the past few years. It's not even safe to hold Ether in a way. So I think that for the next year, the dominant coin will remain as Bitcoin, as it's the most secure, it's the most institutional, money-friendly environment. So, but it's not investment advice. So do your own research.
Yeah, I would add that I completely agree regarding Ethereum. And also, at least for next year, Bitcoin will be dominant for two reasons. First of all, because of the marketing. I have met many people who have no idea what cryptocurrencies even mean, but they heard of Bitcoin. They have never heard of blockchain, they have no idea what it means, but they heard of Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin is kind of a symbol of currencies right now out there, and that's because of the amount of people that are using it, that is at the moment still pushing it forward. But it will be not very long. I'm not sure if Bitcoin will see the part where institutions and everything else is moving in. They might, maybe in the beginning at least, but as soon as there will be a better substitute out there that is faster, cheaper, and you can pay the same places with the same currency, but you pay half of the commission, or you pay, money will be transferred not twice or three times, but within tens of times faster, then there will be big change that it might not happen next year or the year after, but it will happen in years to come.
You mentioned here this Lightning Network. I was a week ago in Riga, where Lightning Network CEO made talk about their technology, and this is really a potential thing. And next year, probably the Lightning Network comes to production, and it will change the field really a lot, I believe, because then it's possible basically. With the Bitcoin, for example, it's possible to make microtransactions. Different blockchain currencies will be linked much more efficiently and cheaply than they are acting today. So this will change a really lot in the market.
Okay, one other question. So this December we've got a pretty big event, right? 18th of December, CME launches Bitcoin futures. How do you guys see that affecting Bitcoin market cap and just Bitcoin dominance in general? Once Wall Street money starts coming in and they're going to attempt like shorting it.
I think we've been hearing about Wall Street money coming in for like how many years now?
I can say that there are in the market there are two different opinions what might happen with the Bitcoin price. Then the futures market will be involved, and but this means that institutional investors can make bets for different parts of the Bitcoin, that the Bitcoin price will increase or decrease, and it means that the Bitcoin price can go in both ways exactly. So we don't know yet we don't know exactly what happens, but in another way it definitely gains more trust to the Bitcoin again, because it opens a lot of doors into the institutional investor fields.
Good point. I think the traditional cryptocurrency buyer journey is, you buy Bitcoin and then you start slowly learning more about it, and then you go buy Ethereum, Litecoin, and then you inevitably spiral down into shitcoins, right? So the question is, are we going to see the revenge of the shitcoin soon? Like, what's going to happen there? Right now, there's still a very small portion of the currency market cap. When are these? If you have any particular predictions on which shitcoins are going to moon, and what do you think we're going to see, like a massive kind of like spike in shitcoin adoption?
Well, there is definitely a rise in privacy coins. And you yourself recently was talking a lot about Zcoin, right? I think really, But what's important about shitcoins is that you really need to do your own research and look into white papers and look into what the coin offers, and only make any kind of investment decisions in case you see that the technology is legit, the project behind the team behind the project is legitimate people as well, with deep technical knowledge, and then you can make the decision.
I think when I'm looking towards these altcoins or shitcoins, as you like to call them, I would look towards tokens or coins which are linked inherently to the infrastructure of blockchain. So I would bring an example. For example, on Ethereum, there is a new second layer protocol called RIDEN, which enables you to carry out micropayments with a really low fee. And what you have to do, you have to open payment channels for this, and you need to use the RIDEN token for that. So that's something that anyone who uses the Ethereum network will at some point eventually have to start using the RIDEN tokens as well. So that's something that I think is an inherently linked token to the protocol, and that's something that I would look towards, these types of tokens.
Yeah, I would like to start that there's a difference between token and token. If we're talking about comparing with the Bitcoin, then obviously we have to talk about coins that are meant for payment, so payment itself. Not all the altcoins are made for payment. Definitely not all of them are legit. But some are utility tokens, some are used for something else. But if you take a look at only tokens and coins that you can pay with, then whatever is going to be coming next is the one with best marketing team and marketing efforts behind them. Because just like Bitcoin, in my opinion, and Ethereum as well, they're so big. Not necessarily because they're better than the alternatives, but because they were first as well at what they do, but because the marketing that's behind that. And this is because everybody knows that, and this is the knowledge itself, and the publication is what increases whatever is going to be coming next.
Actually, I believe that if you look like 10 years ahead, then next big cryptocurrency which serves all the needs of the money will not be based on blockchain. It's based on I don't know, hashgraph or tag chain or some other consensus mechanism, and not in blockchain, because blockchain is not fast and efficient by design. It solves some problems in some situation, and it's really good in the sense of gaining trust and solving the Byzantine problem and everything, but it's not good for really fast transactions. So in that case, I will part of my intention is definitely widely in distributed ledger token systems like IOTA, like Whiteball, Hashgraph, which isn't public yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add this one. I'm not sure if I agree with you on all of the parts. For example, I mean, when you took a look at the speed of the transaction, I mean, I'm not talking about Bitcoin here, but I'm talking about other most tokens and coins that are right now in the market. The average speed in many cases in the best blockchains is around one second. It could be plus minus few seconds, but when it comes to general I mean, obviously there are the ones that are even faster and also placed in blockchain, but if you take a look at the average transaction and what we do is, for example, I've been trading for quite a while on different things, and in most cases I cannot even, by the time the page finishes loading the next screen with the confirmation, the transaction has already been done. So for me, and I'm pretty sure for most users as well, it makes very little difference if the transaction is done millisecond faster or millisecond slower. Obviously there are some changes and some things that the bigger organizations do care that are dependent on really fast transactions. But when it comes to normal usage, I don't think that this is going to be influencing it that much.
One thing is speed, another thing is scalability. As we seen that blockchain by design isn't a really like scalable way of broadcasting the transactions to the between the parties.
Both me and Asse were in Riga last weekend, where one of the leading Bitcoin developers said that it's a real shame that we still need to use blockchain for Bitcoin payments. So what he meant with this was that we can actually carry out transactions off-chain and just report the results back to the main chain after some time. So what this essentially means is that when you go to a pub and you plan to drink for the whole night, then you don't have to go and pay separately for every single beer. What you can do is you can leave a tab open, drink 10 beers or less, and then pay one time. So you only pay the transaction fee one time, and this is what the second layer offers for scalability going to the future. But I think Asse has a slightly different opinion on scaling, as you mentioned, IOTA.
Guys, I think we're diverging a bit from the topic.
I mean, if the scalability grows really fast in a time, for example, if everything what we have wants to connect to the internet and start to make payments, then this means like huge scalability. If I think the next year will be for Bitcoin if the institutional investors come in, and if this spreads to the developing world, to the Africa, to the Asian, then from there we will see more and more the scalability issues what Bitcoin needs to solve today.
I would love to ask you guys about CryptoKitties, but we're just currently smashing Ethereum. But as we're almost running out of time, so I wanted to ask you one thing. I actually brought up a pretty important point. Like, as we start getting more and more scrutiny from governments on actual Bitcoin's getting a lot of attention. Governments starting to like poke their nose in. How much of a hedge will and how important will privacy coins be in the next 1 to 2 years when you look at market cap, and how do you guys look at private coins going forward? Privacy coins, sorry.
By privacy coins, you mean like centralized controlled coins, or?
I mean, the likes of Dash, the likes of Zcoin, or just trying to basically, one of the main points of going into cryptocurrencies was to have the anonymity advantage, right? But obviously, right now we can argue that using Bitcoin will no longer assure you the anonymity that you kind of wanted. So, are we going to see basically institutional investors coming into Bitcoin and then traditional investors that were previously in Bitcoin moving over into privacy coins such as Dash, Zcoin, Zcash, Monero, so on and so forth?
Well, I think it's important, first of all, to understand that Bitcoin is not the same as it was back in 2009, and Bitcoin is always evolving. Recently we had SegWit introduced, there's other upgrades coming. Something that people talk about looking at towards the next few years with Bitcoin is they want to introduce privacy into Bitcoin as well. So I don't think that Bitcoin is like out of the equation when it comes to people wanting to carry out private transactions, but there definitely will be a lot of competition from Dash, Monero, Zcash, Zcoin, your favorite, and some more. So.
I think that there is always a compromise between privacy, security, and convenience. Like, you can pick any two of them, but it's really hard to get a product out which is convenient and secure and private. So with privacy is really important for lots of use cases. And I think that those privacy coins, they will take their niche and be used for a lot of things, and not only like for buying drugs, but also as well evading surveillance of hostile governments or a lot of other things. So we are definitely going to see the rise of those privacy coins, and even already Bitcoin itself, though not being private, still is able to help people raise money for political campaigns, for example.
I think that in the end of the day, for normal everyday users, privacy makes very little difference. Yes, if you say the word privacy, yeah, somebody can see your transactions. It's gonna be fear. You're gonna be, a bit declined. And like, I don't want to do that if people can see what I'm doing. But unless you print that out specifically, winner is the one that will make the most convenient, fastest, cheapest solution. So if it's regulated, regardless if it's private or if it's not unregulated, regardless if it's private or public, or if it's centralized 100%, the winner is always whoever will make the most convenient solution.
Yeah, it's pretty much like what's happening now with VPN, Tor, and things like this. So governments and other entities, they're trying to censor or limit the flow of information. But with Lightning Network and interconnectedness of different blockchains, even if Bitcoin blockchain is monitored 100%, you can still jump through Monero and back to Bitcoin and gain your privacy back. So those people who need it will be able to use these technologies.
Okay, guys. Okay, one last thing. We've run out of time, like aggressively, but one
couple first. I really like my privacy, and I like my freedom to choose what transactions I will make public and what I will hold privately.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I don't think we have any. We have time for questions. If anyone else wants to ask any questions, we can take a couple of questions.
Yeah, we thought since this has been a very interesting panel, so this is the lunchtime, it is starting officially right now, but if you'd like to stay and ask a few questions, does anyone have anything? I've got a hand here.
Hi, thank you. I'm Johan Staff from Holstein, from Stockholm. I have a question, because I see a problem if you do consumer-based projects that needs to be really scalable and incredibly fast in order to be able to. Is it possible to combine a blockchain cryptocurrency with a centralized token in order to have the speed created?
Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
So if content needs to be attached directly to a token in order to make absolutely seamless and immediate transactions, could you do that in a centralized system and then combine it with a token on a layer on top?
I actually have you checked out Like? I think they're one of the speakers here as well. They managed to actually do off-chain transactions and settlements, so I think that probably would be one way of kind of resolving that issue. Depending on the technology, this is my personal opinion, maybe some of the other panelists want to chip in. Depending on the particular technology, I think if you want to do it instant and not off-the-chain settlements, it might be a bit more complicated. Well, it depends which blockchain you use, because I think if you use Stellar Lumens might be able to enable it to do that, but I'm not sure exactly on their capability to actually link it to tokens other than that particular coin. But if you guys have...
Anyone from Russia here? So recently Burger King launched the Whopper coin. So that's, I think, something, it's a centralized coin issued by Burger King, but this allows you to spend your Whopper coins to redeem burgers, for example. So it's definitely doable, but it's only the first companies looking into this space. So
I hope that answers your questions. If anyone else has the input, but I definitely check out Like, because they have their particular coin also linked to the stocks within the company, and I think that's been a definitely interesting application of it. Any other questions?
Maybe to quickly add here. So I think a very interesting topic to look into is token economy, and I think in 5 or 10 years' time, many companies will be issuing their own tokens. So there will be a Starbucks token, a Burger King token. Uber might have a token as well, so that's a very, very interesting tokenomics is that theme. So
you should also check out Starbase. I'm pretty sure they're launching a platform that allows you to tokenize different type of things, like for example artists. Like particular artists can launch a token and then you can buy it at the beginning, and if that guy ends up being Justin Bieber, then move.
Okay, to the back.
Just without any sort of explanation, if you were going to have a gamble, say, on picking 3 currencies that are going to have the biggest sort of rise in 2018, what would those 3 currencies be? Or 3 coins?
Currencies or tokens? Which one? Which ones?
The currency, the coins.
Just tell us how to get rich. How to get rich, guys.
This is not investment advice, but I would say definitely Ethereum still has a lot of growth ahead of it. And also, I mean, Dash has been having an amazing run, so they're around here, have a chat with them. And then I would say still bet on Bitcoin because you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, I will also join to the bet on Bitcoin, not an investment advice, but we are going to see the launch of Lightning Network, which can and probably will transform the way we use Bitcoin. Also, I really like Litecoin due to Litecoin having amazing leadership by Charlie Lee. The project knows where it's going, and they're the first to implement all the amazing technologies, same Lightning Network. So yeah, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum has a long way to go yet. A long way to go.
I think if you speak to a lot of traders, they'll tell you that, especially like altcoin traders, that the purpose of trading altcoins is to get more Bitcoins. So definitely I would still bet on Bitcoin quite a lot.
Well, yeah, I have maybe slightly alternative ones. I'm not 100% sure that if the Bitcoin is, it will go higher, definitely. So if you want to make a little profit, that's in my opinion, fine. I think that if you take, instead of Bitcoin, there will be one of the Bitcoin alternatives, one of the forks that will have, I think, more success when it comes to rise rate. Bitcoin Cash could be one of them, but it's up to debate. When it comes to good alternative to Bitcoin and all of the forks, then I think it's going to be EOS. That's going to be very interesting to keep your eyes out for. And when it comes to something smaller, I would say Obits is one of the very little known, but there's going to be quite a few very, very exciting news. So it could be jumping really shortly, quite a bit.
All right, thank you.
Cool. Do you want to add more, or any coins you want to shill as well?
It might be a bit biased, but I would also recommend looking into Change. This is what we're running, and we got a product coming out, cards coming out soon, so that's something I would recommend.
So check out Moontec. Anyone else want to add any particular coin predictions, or we're good? Okay, any other questions?
Anything more before we go to lunch? Going, gone. Thank you very much.